Hello citizens of the Dragon Kingdom, Dragon here, back at it again with a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about something that I am guilty of doing for good reason and what I personally feel about it for the community and for the game itself. We're going to talk about Destiny, well Destiny 2. We're going to talk about carries and recovs to be exact, because I'm guilty of doing it. I'm very guilty of doing it. I'm sorry, but it's for good reason. I did it for free for a bit and then for pay for equipment for the channel so I can make better content. So at least it went to a good cause. Anywho, I want to talk about carries and recovs. I want to talk about the good, the bad of it, and what I personally feel about it overall. So without any further ado, sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and let's dive on into this topic. So I want to start things off with a positive. We're going to talk about something positive of recovs. We're going to start with recovs, and we'll spread out depending on how the conversation goes. So to start things off, I feel that recovs is something that will always happen in any game like this. If you really think about it, in multiplayer games, there will always be competition and there will always be a skill cap. And when you tie a reward to that competition, people will want to get said reward. Unfortunately, not everyone is capable of getting that said reward, and that promotes things such as carries and recovs. So what does that entail? Well, it means that people who are more skilled will take time to help less skilled players acquire whatever reward is for people who are high skilled. And some might do it for free, some might do it for pay. But it's something that will always happen in these types of games or anything like that. Well, I imagine in games like Call of Duty or World of Warcraft that there are things like that. But for this context, we're going to talk about Destiny. And Destiny, oh yeah, there is a lot of people who do account recoveries and carries in competitive and, at the time, trials. And I think there's some bad things about it, and I think there's some good things about it. Good thing for people who do recoveries and carries is that they allow for people who lack certain things to get those rewards that otherwise by themselves they are unable to get or achieve. So for example, if somebody lacks the skill or time to do hours upon hours of dedication and time to get that item, but they don't want to feel left out, a carry or a recov allows them to cut that time and achieve it and still be a part of the group of people to experience that weapon or item or whatever reward is tied to the activity. So for context, right now we have Luna's Howl, Not Forgotten, and Recluse, Mountaintop technically, but you have those weapons in the competitive playlist in Destiny 2. Not everyone is good at PvP in Destiny 2. So by going to someone who carries or recovs, they can be taken through and earn, or get, better said, get those weapons so that they can experience those weapons before they're unattainable, or if Bungie decides to change their function by nerfing or buffing them. And some people are just incapable of getting it because of something like a disability. If they just can't play PvP at a high skill level because physically they just cannot do it, then a recov or a carry can be a solution for them. But they are able to help people by doing what they do. But of course, with every positive, there are also negatives. So a negative that I would say that carries and recovs do is dilutes the player pool. That means low skill players that are trying to earn whatever weapon or gear themselves are going to face high tier players disguised as low tier players because that low tier player's account is being played by a high tier player, if that makes sense. So it's unfair for the people who are trying to do it themselves. And so I can see why that could be a major problem. On the flip side though, a positive I would say about carries would be that low skill players can learn from getting carried. Depending on the person, they can teach the player where they're doing wrong as a player so that they can learn, adapt, overcome, and improve for the next encounter or the next game. So that way they get better and they don't need to be carried again in the future. But it does split the player gap. So for example, if there are 100 legitimate high tier players, then you throw in another 100 low tier players who got to high tier because they got carried or recov. The high tier players aren't always going to play against people their own skill. They're going to play against people who technically don't belong there because their skill does not match their rank. So it kind of isn't fair for the low tier player because they're going to get stomped, and it's not a challenge for the high tier player, so they're not going to improve anymore. So it makes them get stagnant as a player, and it makes it an unenjoyable experience for the low tier player. But on the flip side, I have to say that sometimes it is very difficult for low tier players to find good teams to work with. Some people don't work well together, and it gets very aggravating when you go through multiple teams and you're just not progressing because you just don't have the chemistry together. By going to someone who carries, for example, they know the player is going to be good, and there's a good chance that there will be good chemistry with the Sherpa, or the person who's carrying, and the person who's getting carried. But at the same time, people who get carried through and get those end tier weapons like Luna's or Not Forgotten and such, or whatever reward is tied to these type of activities, they get these weapons without earning it and understanding the pain of getting to that weapon, because by earning it yourself, you go through the trouble of each match and going and not knowing whether you're gonna win or not, and playing it out, playing your best, and improving as a player so that when you get those pinnacle weapons, you are able to use them effectively because you understand the game better, because you had to play to improve to earn those weapons. Whereas if somebody carried or recovered you to the weapons, yeah, you got the weapon, but you don't know how to use the weapon, if that makes any sense. It also doesn't help that it spreads toxicity because of how many people do recovs and carries and such. People don't believe sometimes if you using that weapon you actually earned it yourself, or if somebody went and carried or recovered you to that weapon or gear. You don't know, and people will go and spread toxicity by prejudging you based on how you perform in a game if you have those weapons on. Who knows, you might be choosing to do a fun day or relaxed day where you just don't care about how you're performing, but people will still prejudge you because you're using those weapons. So overall, there are good and bad things. It's a very complicated topic to talk about, and it's something that will always be around with Destiny and with many games that are like this, of course. But I just wanted to say my 2 cents on it, what I think of it. Personally, I feel very mixed about it because I understand both ends of the argument, and being as that I do both ends of the argument, I don't know. It really is a very mixed bag, to say the least, because I also enjoy hearing people get excited and relieved when I get them the weapon or get them the gear, because they know, or they tell me, better said, that, oh my god, I wouldn't have been able to do this myself. Thank you so much. So I'm helping them, but I also know that I am also hurting the community by doing it. It's a very mixed bag and it's very touchy of a topic, but I wanted to do my 2 cents on it, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about account recoveries and carries in general for Destiny and in any other game, really, and how you guys feel on it. Is it a good thing, bad thing? Is it bad for the community, good for the community? Let me know in the comment section below. So without any further ado, I do hope you enjoyed today's video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe and become a member of the Dragon Kingdom. Follow me on Twitter to stay up to date with things. Follow me on Twitch to see when I go live, and join our Discord server We talk about this type of stuff and plenty of other stuff in our Discord, and we are a big happy family over there. So make sure to stop on by and know what is going on. Anywho, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.